Nancy was a five-masted wooden schooner built at Portland, Oregon in 1918 by the Foundation Company Shipyard. The yard itself had roots in heavy civil works, building bridge piers and factory foundations before the First World War drew it into emergency shipbuilding for the war effort. When the United States entered the war in April 1917, Allied governments were permitted to order ships from American yards to meet critical shortages of tonnage. The French government, facing heavy shipping losses, placed a large order for 40 steam auxiliary five-masted wooden schooners to be built in Oregon and Washington yards, alongside wooden steamers and steel minesweepers. These vessels, including the Nancy, were all completed by December 1918, although their armistice on November 11th rendered many surplus almost immediately. The Foundation Company's Portland and Tacoma yards were central to this effort. Both were built or expanded to handle these large contracts using designs overseen by Cox and Stevens, naval architects from New York. The Nancy and her sister ships were for the most part named for battlefields in France. They were 260 feet long, 45 feet wide, and 22 feet deep five-masted schooners measuring about 2,142 gross tons, fitted with 4 cargo hatches, 3 winches, and twin 350 horsepower triple expansion steam engines, each driving its own propeller through coal-fired water tube boilers. Although rigged as schooners, their masts and sails were poorly arranged and mostly symbolic. The lower masts were short, and the boilers' smokestacks left little safe room for proper sails aft. These big wooden steam schooners were designed for rapid delivery with minimal crew, meant to shuttle food, lumber, and nitrate for the Allied war effort. Their build quality, however, left much to be desired. They were poorly caulked with putty, built of green wood, with poorly arranged sails, and their boilers often leaked or failed. This earned them the derisive nickname "fleet with nickel-plated feet", because they spent more time tied up at the quay than at sea. Due to the very poor quality of construction of these ships, they had to be decommissioned in the harbor of Brest. The boilers of the five-masted schooners needed to be replaced after a year of service. Most of their hulls needed to be rebuilt. The Nancy was assigned to the port of Bordeaux under the French flag, but was laid up in Brest soon after the war. She was sold abroad in 1923, reflagged to the United States, stripped of her engines, and converted into a coal carrier working out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On February 19, 1927, the Nancy, under Captain Baird, anchored at Boston Light to ride out an approaching nor'easter after discharging a load of coal. She lay empty at anchor, but by dawn on February 20th, winds near 70 miles per hour dragged her free and drove her out of the harbor toward Harding's Ledge, a notorious shoal. In a last effort to clear the rocks, Captain Baird ordered an emergency sail set, which succeeded in avoiding the ledge but left the Nancy at the mercy of the gale, drifting helplessly shoreward. She grounded hard on Nantasket Beach at Hull, Massachusetts. Osceola James, a local lifesaver and son of the famous lifesaver Joshua James, organized the rescue. He commandeered horses pulling a snowplow and hitched them to the wheeled carriage that carried the surfboard from the Humane Society station. The horses brought the lifeboat to the beach, where hundreds of onlookers watched the grounded schooner Nancy. James picked out a crew from the crowd, men who knew how to row. The men launched the surfboard into waves that broke as high as 15 feet. 50 men held a line attached to the stern in case the surfboard capsized. The crew jumped into the boat safely, including one sailor who held the ship's ice-covered cat. The surfboard returned to shore safely after 20 minutes of rowing through the pounding surf. The Nancy had run aground at an unusually high tide and sat stranded high on the beach, impossible to refloat. Almost immediately, she became a bizarre local landmark and moneymaker. Captain Baird and owner Samuel C. Forde turned her into a tourist attraction, giving tours for 50 cents each. On busy days, more than 400 people came aboard, bringing in as much as $800 a week. The hull even served as a giant billboard for products like Nutri-Drinks and was the subject of a web of lawsuits over salvage rights, property taxes, and a cabaret license. The New Haven Railroad even filed suit because the Nancy's bowsprit nearly overhung its tracks. Attempts to refloat her failed. In 1929, another storm pushed the Nancy 10 feet farther inland, her final voyage. Over time, neglect and vandalism took their toll. Fires were set aboard her bowsprit was taken off, and her hull became both playground and local eyesore. During the Great Depression, the stranded Nancy was finally dismantled by the Works Progress Administration workers. Her lumber was given out as firewood to struggling local families. Local law holds that parts of her timbers still survive today, built into hulls, older cottages and sheds. Thus ended the story of the Nancy, a grand but flawed product of wartime urgency turned shipwreck curiosity, then dismantled piece by piece on the Massachusetts shore.